So I want to tell you a story about time. Many years ago, after a very intense weekend of spiritual practice, meditation, energy healing, I was returning home and I was taking a train. And my heart was very full, I was relaxed, I was looking outside the window, the landscape, and then all of a sudden, there's no thought, no emotion, no time. I was the landscape. I was the sunlight. I was the flowers. It was unbelievably blissful. And my mind came right in and said, "This is amazing." And that was the end of it. The whole episode lasted maybe a couple seconds because that's how quickly the mind wanted to make meaning out of the experience that I was having. But during that brief interval, there was absolutely no separation and no sense of time. It was only afterwards that I could measure time. For a brief moment, I wasn't just in the present, I was the present. So that experience really stayed with me. And I really wanted to get back and have that experience again. I felt the craving of my ego to re experience that kind of bliss, that kind of union. But it made me think, is this what spiritual teachers mean when they talk about the present moment, the now, being in the now? And so I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. And I think that in some ways, we've really misunderstood what the present moment is. And so I want to talk to you about what it means to be present in the present, and with a little nod to what physics tells us about time and the present moment. The reason is that the way spiritual teachers sometimes talk about being present or being in the present makes it seem like you're going to lose all track of time, all the time, that you will transcend time, that your life will be one kind of Zen moment, of utterly no perception of time, as if the past and the future could just evaporate and it would all be a seamless present. No clocks, no calendars, nothing. And I think that that has created a kind of utopia. It's turned one kind of mystical experience into an end goal. You see, we can't escape time entirely, certainly not as human beings. And I don't think that we're meant to. We may touch moments of timelessness, we may fall out of time. We can learn to play with time, to stretch time, to bend time. But we're still going to be playing with time because to interact with the world requires that we play with time. There's clock time, right? We're constantly playing with clocks and calendars, setting dates, choosing hours, and there is no way to ignore that in the modern world and interact with everyone else. And let's not forget that spiritual teachers, many of whom are espousing the now, have clocks and calendars. They're showing up at specific times, specific days. So we're not trying to get rid of time and the way we coordinate with each other through time. And then there's also psychological time, a relationship to time, the emotions that we feel around time. And this is where we're getting to the crux of the matter. Because when we talk about being present, not being in the future, nor being in the past, we're actually usually talking about emotional time, psychological time. We're talking about worrying about the future, what might happen, right? Somebody's anxious, fearful, and that future moment has not unfolded. And similarly, if you've done something that has created a lot of pain, regret, remorse, and you're ruminating, you keep going back over the past, tilling it, replaying those stories, you're really dealing with the emotions that transpired. All of that mental activity is happening in the present moment. Your focus is on your memory or on your imagination, as opposed to your focus is on what is happening around you right now. And it's because of those strong emotions that we're not always skilled at handling, that the call to be present, to be in the now, is a way to manage those emotions. And what gets collapsed then is the distinction between being able to think about the future and think about the past, or think about and pay attention to the present, all of which is happening in the present moment without the emotional charge. We can think about our future. We can plan. We should plan. We should be paying attention to our clocks and calendars. We should be thinking about our future. Can it be done with a certain sense of balance? That the task before me right now is to pay attention to the future. That is what is present in this moment. The demand to pay attention to the future. I have to plan. I got to buy plane tickets. I got to coordinate schedules. I have to go to work, whatever it is. And similarly, thinking about the past. If you're trying to heal something, you're going to be in the past, playing out a story, diving in, feeling those emotions. Can you do that without resistance? That is the fundamental difference. The resistance to the mental activity, whether you're thinking about the future, thinking about the past, or paying attention to the present, it's all about how much you're resisting that. Your emotion around it is really the key. And so when we're talking about the now, we're talking about being present to whatever is transpiring, whether that is the mental activity in your head that is taking place, that is thinking about the future, or the mental activity in your head that is going over the past, or the mental activity in your head of what is happening around you right now. Because you can be very much in the present moment and deeply resisting it. You're very unhappy. You're like, oh, I'm impatient. I'm angry. I'm sad. I want this to go away. I'm now imagining a future where this is over. That is all still happening in the present moment. And you're deeply aware of the present moment and yet still resisting it. So you're not really in the now. You're resisting the now. So this is where I want to bring in a little bit of physics. Now, spiritual people love to talk about quantum physics. We'll get into that at some point. We're not in the realm of quantum physics. This is not quantum healing, none of that quantum stuff. Okay. We're actually just going to be in the realm of relativity for a moment. And the person whose work I want to rely on here is a truly incredible physicist named Carlo Rovelli, who writes beautiful books. Highly recommend Carlo Rovelli's work. And Rovelli talks a lot about time. One of my favorite Rovelli books is called The Order of Time. And in that book, he's addressing the fact that physicists are still grappling with what time is. Kind of fascinating. But what relativity says is that there is no single now. When we talk about it in spirituality, we're always talking about like as if there's just this one single now that we all could be a part of. And maybe, just maybe, when I fell out of time and experienced that split second, that kind of union with the world around me, that was a universal now. Don't know. But what physics says is that our now, this is going to be a little trippy, that our now is actually already in the past. What you think of as your now has already happened. It has to do with how light travels. Einstein proved that time is affected by speed and gravity. And then Rovelli takes this and makes a really and beautiful statement. Just a really like, time passes faster in the mountains than it does at sea. Time passes faster in the mountains than it does at sea because you're a little bit closer to the earth. So the gravitational pull of the earth is tiniest bit. So if somebody is in the mountains and they're talking to somebody who's at sea level, those nows are not the same. There's the tiniest bit of difference. Similarly, this is where the way light travels. What you're taking in and perceiving as your now, all of this, is light entering your eyes, and your brain processes it. And when it arrives, it is a nanosecond older. Nanoseconds pass from the objects that you've perceived, the light from those objects entering your eye. So what you're seeing is an image that is actually already gone. It doesn't affect things dramatically. But as a matter of physics, everything you're receiving is on a delayed transmission. It's like a little recording. You're on a delay. The world around you, the world that you're perceiving, gone. And we know that this matters at very large distances. When scientists talk about light from a very distant star and realize that light is millions of years old, that star may be gone, dead. It may have exploded. Who knows what happened to it? But that light that traveled so far is old light. So that's as a matter of physics. We can take this even further. The light that I'm perceiving, that is fractions of a second old, is being constructed based on the past, based on what I've seen. My mind is processing it, all of my perceptions, my beliefs, all of that that I am taking in is all based on old data, old formulas, old stories. So I'm reproducing the world around me based on what I've seen before. When I walk into a room, I'm looking around, I'm like, I've seen this for years. Looks the same, but it's not. Even what I'm looking at now is old, and it's based on old experiences. So what does this mean? So first of all, your present moment is your present moment. And my present moment is my present moment. And they are not the same moment. They are unique. As a matter of physics and as a matter of perception, there is no universal present. So what that means is that I get to play with my present moment, the present moment that I'm experiencing, knowing that as a matter of physics, I'm kind of slightly out of sync with the universe. So I want to give you another quick story. Years ago, I was on a 9-day meditation retreat. Didn't have access to my phone, meditating hours upon hours upon hours. And around day, I want to say it was like 5 or 6, my mind slowed down a lot, got very slow. Time just really stretched. But the really fascinating thing is that when I went outside, I was walking, the amount of data that my mind could take in was suddenly overwhelming. The colors were like technicolor. It was psychedelic without any psychedelics. Everything just glistened. The detail I could see. Again, all of that light, fractions of a second old, but I could see so much more of it than I had ever seen. So intense. Because we're constantly filtering the present. Filter, filter, filter. Based on our perceptions, based on the speed with which we're moving through the world, based on the fact that we know things already. We're like, we walk into a room, I'm like, I've seen this already. I'm not going to sit here and study all the things around me in exquisite detail. but you could, and you might see a lot more. But where my focus has not been on trying to have that experience of time where I fell out of it, but playing with time. And I've had moments of bliss where it's been close to falling out of time or my perception of time has shifted. But mostly it's been about working through the resistance to and the psychological dimension of time, emotions. When something triggers me, why does it trigger me? Because it's something in the past, something in the past with unresolved emotion where I have a lot of resistance still. And I haven't worked through what that experience was and the beliefs and the meaning I attached to it that is now being played out in the present. And so rather than being present to what is happening now, I've filtered it through the lens of my past experiences, seeing this as if it were a version of what I previously experienced. And so my experience with playing with time is all about playing with the way I filter it, stretch it, move through it, with a belief that ultimately it's about letting go of all of the emotional tension, baggage, unresolved stuff that I'm carrying around. Interestingly, this is where we come back to Carlo Rovelli. Towards the end of The Order of Time, where he has spent countless pages dissecting the meaning of time, Rovelli takes a step back. He's reached the end of what physics has to say, and he says, perhaps the emotion of time is what time actually is. Think about that for a second. Perhaps the emotion of time is what time actually is. Ravelli has moved from physics to metaphysics. It's a beautiful statement. And what he does is he moves away from physics and he turns to the Buddha. Here's a physicist being like, I'm explaining what time is to you. And now I'm going to turn to Buddhism and mindfulness. What a turn. And so we are left with this kind of beautiful sense that time eludes us. There's something mysterious about it still. We still don't have all the answers. And maybe we fall out of time briefly. I will always cherish that experience and all of the kind of moments where my mind has perceived things differently. But I've really let go of the present moment as this kind of fetish where I can't think about the past and I can't think about the future. That is a watered down and distorted version of what to be in the now means. And I'm not saying that's what spiritual teachers are pushing, or that's what spiritual teachers have been telling us. But there's a way that version of being here now, being in the now, gets circulated, particularly on social media. Instead, I come back to time as this thing where I have my own present moment and I get to play with it. And it's mysterious. And I'm sort of in awe of it. There's humility. There's wonder. These emotions, not anxiety, not regret, not fear, the possibility of the present moment, playing with this wonderful paradox that there is actually no universal present moment. There's your present moment, there's my present moment. So, what are you going to do with that present moment? How are you going to relate to it? How are you going to play with it? Because what you're seeing in the present moment, truly, on a slight time delay, is you, your perception. You are witnessing you. That is what your consciousness is doing with time. So have some reverence, have some humility. What you're seeing when you see the present moment is you. It's all you. If this video about time resonated with you, drop me a comment. Let me know if you've had any moments of falling out of time, playing with time, bending time. Share it with somebody who you think it might resonate with. And of course, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.